Alright, I've got a salad and I'm back. And I'm ready. I don't know what it is with me and having a tradition of salads with this game, but here we are. Still have the taste of vinegar on my tongue. But yes, tricks. We're gonna learn to do fancy things. Because if the idea here is we want to get good points and scores with surfing, for instance, to get good grades, we're gonna need to learn how to do some tricks. So let's do so. We do have grabs like we did in Wii Ski and Snowboard, and I imagine it's going to be just as useless, because you got no points for that in that game. And look how few points we get here. No points whatsoever, really, for a grab. I don't know what the point even is of having a trick like that gives you so few points. I know you can start and end it whenever you want, which is convenient, but seriously. Not a ton of tricks to do here, but might as well take a look at them. Some of these I've been doing a good amount, but I need to make sure I actually know how to do them. Not only so I can do them on command, but also so I don't keep doing them by accident. So that's why I kept doing a front flip by accident earlier. Even though I didn't really acknowledge that it was accidental. The most basic gesture, just flicking the controllers, makes you do the front flip. Ta-da. Now we can learn a backflip, which is only moderately more complicated and still gives you the same number of points, I think. But I'm not sure how these work out in terms of how long it takes to do one trick versus another. Unless you just hold, whoops, you just hold down as you do it. And back up. Come on. Quick turns to be fancy. And now back flip. You see, I don't think I got that much airtime that time compared to other times I've had a full meter. And yet I also still stayed in the air longer than I expected based on how quickly I was moving. Not a lot more left. These are the interesting ones. Of course, when Wii Ski and Snowboard, there was practically no point in doing any tricks other than the best ones, like Tornado or Hurricane, whatever they're called, to get as many points as possible. It's a little simplified here. Compared to Wii Ski and Snowboard, you're only pressing up and C instead of up and right or whatever it was. To do similar tricks in that game. And also, it doesn't take up quite all your time in the air. And there's not that much variation in air time in this game, you would think. Because it's not like you have different terrain with big and small jumps, you're just on a wave the whole time. I believe this gives you the same number of points as a windmill. I think windmill and rodeo flip are basically the same thing. Game mechanics wise. Like their front and back flip. And their controls are pretty much the same. So I didn't get as much air that time. The game doesn't really tell you how to make sure you get a lot of air. And you can see my air gauge was still full, but I definitely did not get much air there. That was just the game freezing my air gauge after it ended the practice for some reason. Here's a more interesting one. Hang 10 is specifically a longboard move. That's what the longboard has over the shortboard. Also, this guy takes a while to start whenever he doesn't demo for some reason. Five, 10. That is it. That is in fact it. Not a lot to it. Oh. There you go. You also cannot turn while doing it. Question here is, what does that mean for points? Because that's how you have to decide between longboard and shortboard if you're going for points to get a good grade. And we'll just leave that one undone. Why bother? So that's surfing tutorials done. At least until we do 2, but we're not going to do that here. Is there anything fun to do for these? I don't think there's anything I could possibly learn that's useful from those. ATV, there might be things useful to learn here, actually. I don't know how to do wheels or stoppies. I didn't know those were a thing, so... While we're here, why not pick those up?
Hello.
Very straightforward. Man! Threw it right over him. And now we can learn to stop before we do that. A stoppie are better known to me as an endo, since that's what it's called in ATV Off-Road Fury. Amusingly, he gets out of the way this time. I guess he has the right... he knows the dangers. So that's basically everything I want to do on the ATV. Unless I start looking into tricks later, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. We can look at what they are, out of curiosity. Lots of tricks too, actually. We're going to want to learn those for... There might be a freestyle event at some point, but at the very least we're going to want to learn those for getting a star later. And this is interesting. We don't just have jumps, we have high jumps, and that's something I want to know. I feel there are moves I did not realize were actually available on the water bikes. Let's do those too.
Hello.
Even higher. I like how he's got a little platform there. So that's a normal jump. This is a high jump, so you can see it makes you move a lot more slowly. But you jump way higher. You can even just do a trick that way without getting any air from a ramp or anything. And now the opposite. So I can jump up and dive into the water like a fox in snow. I'm reminded of the fox that we eventually found in Whiskey, in the original Whiskey. The fun thing here is you can stay underwater though. High jump. And underwater. And you can stay underwater for a while, for one, and also you come up pretty high when you come out of the water again, so you have a pretty nice jump. You can basically be a dolphin. This was just for fun, I think. Maybe some minigame makes use of this. But this is a peculiar minigame, or a peculiar move. This one's not really any more useful than just like emoting or anything as far as I can tell, but just press a button. unfortunately I missed. It takes a long time to start. So I wasn't able to get him with it, unfortunately. And they're stunned. I think this one's even more useless, actually. I'm actually a little disappointed in this one, to be perfectly honest. I was wondering a stun. I tried doing a stun. I believe you have to be moving, don't you? But first, more importantly. There we go. Anyways, just hold one and you just do that. I believe it's the same one every time. Yeah. Kind of weird. You just strike a little pose. The same pose every time. Whatever. Unless there's something more to it than that, but we can look at the tricks later. Again, it might be useful to do those for some kind. I don't remember if I have to get a big combo on the Marine Bike or not, actually. I'll have to look again at that. But for now, we've had enough schooling, I think. Now to actually go out on the water. And we do want the shortboard. We know that now. Wait. No, we don't. Because we haven't determined that... We know the shortboard's up higher, but we haven't determined whether the longboard has any other extra benefits. Because the thing is, the longboard can do hang tens. So let's try those out. So let's see if we can incorporate some hang tens into riding a wave and see if that does anything for us, actually. Dolphins also. Try. Also, at this point, you don't get to see under the water when you go under the wave like that. That would look kind of cool. Can't help but wonder. I imagine it's been done before, but I haven't really heard of much in the way of surfing games. It's a thing, right? You would think so. Okay, so the thing I noticed here is you don't seem to get points for it. Not explicitly, at the very least. And getting less air is a little painful. The air is naturally pretty useful for tricks. So I can't really do much more than a front flip on here. We barely do on the big tricks, like the windmill. And hang 10 is kind of a flat land trick, which makes it really different than anything else you can do. But the thing is, it doesn't seem like it gives you points, so... yeah. Could use something, but that's not setting the greatest standard. So evidently we're going to need more than that. So never mind to the longboard. Shortboard is where it's at, I think. Maybe there's some other benefit to the longboard somewhere. Maybe it's better for tube surfing, or maybe it's just really worth it being able to do a hang 10. I don't know. Shortboard, though, is what we want, I think, for going for points. And I would imagine that there's something to be gained by getting a really good score on the surfboard here. Getting an S or something to that effect of riding a wave. So let's just head on out and do precisely that. I talk on and off, you know, about... It's weird. A weird thing. So I have this new verbal tick as of the last few months, which is just saying, you know, but only while recording games. Whoops. Yeah, you can't go out as far as you might think based on the mini-map. But no, I only say, you know, obsessively, and without thinking, while recording stuff for this channel. Nowhere else. No other time. I don't know why. But anyways, as much as I talk about trying to work on speaking clearly and not tripping over myself and things like that, this is a good opportunity to practice that, isn't it? Since I'm not even distracted too much playing the game here, I do want to pay attention to what's happening in the game to comment on it, but I can to say things and focus on what I'm saying, and not get distracted too much by things like, hey, I think I can see how the water works here. How you have like a somewhat translucent texture on the top of the water, on the lip of the wave. I do notice, though, there isn't actually an explicitly stated stamp for getting, or whatever else, star for getting a high score on the surfboard here. I can't imagine there wouldn't be something. I mean, based on the tradition left by Whiskey. But this would be a good time to try to slow down, speak clearly, and all that. Even, I mean, I can usually understand what I'm saying if I listen back to stuff that I recorded, because I usually remember what it was I was saying then, for one. But also, at the same time, I just know what my voice is like, and how I speak and whatnot, so I can understand myself. But there are times where I still think to myself, man, that was not spoken clearly at all, or I would not be surprised if somebody didn't understand what I was saying there. Stuff like that. So that's what I try to work on, but my main opportunity to work on that is while recording these, but I'm very, very distracted. Like right here, as I'm playing this, I'm focused on trying to get lots of points. I barely did a single windmill there. Why didn't I get much air that time? That's something I have not figured out here. How to get more air. I guess it's your angle of approach or something like that. I'm really not sure how. See, that seemed pretty good to me. So do you just need to always come directly at the wave to get the most air? I'm not sure. That's an A, which is good. But we want better. I mean, presumably there's an S rank or something like that, right? There's nothing actually telling us so, now that I think about it. There, we do have a Marine Gear Master thing here. And assuming you count the surfboard as marine gear, you would think that if there's anything to do in terms of surf score, it would be on here. There actually isn't one, so I'm not that sure, but I still want to make sure. Plus, I want to be good at surfing anyways. So we can still keep going. We can keep going anyways. But also, we've spent a lot of time here without actually doing the surfing minigame yet. That's not exploring. We did not end up using all of our time exploring, but we're also not spending our time doing minigames either. We found a third option. We're learning. Which is kind of what exploring needs to do, now that I think about it. But yes, now I actually have a rare, ideal opportunity to focus more on how it is that I'm speaking and work on that. Because I think the important thing is to produce a habit of speaking decently, and then I can rely on that when I'm not actually paying conscious attention to how I'm speaking. But even then, there have been times where I've recorded myself speaking intentionally and without any other distractions. And hello. Oh yeah, the video's done. I forgot about that. I'll continue this train of thought next time. Bye everyone.